Hola familia, ¿qué tal? Muchísimas bendiciones, que la paz de Dios esté con todos ustedes, hoy, mañana y siempre. Por acá trayéndole las novedades del caso de Derek Rosa, tal como se lo he prometido. Señores, por acá les voy a poner un video donde están interrogando a Frank Ramos y le están haciendo alguna pregunta. El video está pues en inglés, pero la traducción está en español. Si usted lee rápido, pues se dará cuenta de todas las preguntas que le hacen. Y si usted pues lee lento, pues le invito a que lo pause el video para que vaya leyendo cada pregunta que le hacen al detective, perdón. Le hacen la pregunta al detective en la jurisdicción, pues allá en la audiencia. Incluso creo que esa se le hicieron él sola, y quien le está haciendo la pregunta es una abogada. Sí, creo que una abogada. Es donde están ahí interrogando al detective, donde le hacen las preguntas, que si conoce a Fran Ramos, que si tenía algún parentesco con Fran Ramos. O sea, le hacen varias preguntas y él trata de responderlas, pero aquí hay mucho gato enredado, porque él dice que no lo conoce, que no lo investigó, o sea, no lo interrogó. Y aparte de eso, entonces, ¿cómo entonces recibe fotos de Fran Ramos? O sea, cómo Fran Ramos le envía fotos al detective si él nunca lo interrogó y supuestamente no lo conoce. O sea, cómo tienen esa conexión, quién la consiguió en contacto, cómo sucedió todo. Por eso, por este medio, le voy a poner a ustedes el video para que ustedes saquen pues su propia conclusión referente a este caso, que yo creo que dejará a todo el mundo boca abierta, tal como se lo prometí, familia. Nada, seguimos apoyando a Derek Rosa. Si eres nuevo, te invito a que te suscribas al canal, y ahí le dejo el video. Mírenlo ustedes mismos.
In terms of the medical examination, do you know anything about depth of wounds?
The depth of the wounds?
Yes, sir.
I was there when they were doing the autopsy, and I got to see when they actually pulled the skin back, and the doctor explained to me that it hit organs and organs and organs.
Do you have any specialized training to know depth of wounds? You yourself, without somebody else telling you?
I'm not a doctor, if that's what you're asking.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Well,
I'm asking if you have any specialized training to know on your own, without another person telling you, the depth of a wound.
Well, visually, you could see if a wound or an injury goes through skin, and if it hits the organ, you can make an estimation, but other than visual.
Okay. Can you also visually identify the force needed to create certain wounds?
It depends if it strikes a bone or not.
And you could tell that visually, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you have any expertise to determine what's a defensive wound or offensive wound?
May I just inquire if I can go back? Do you still need this, Ms. Riella, or can I go back to my table?
No, I do not. Thank you, Ms. Morales. Do you have the expertise to determine what is a defensive or offensive wound?
I have handled many homicides and or stabbings, and I am talking to you from experience that I know what a defensive wound is in a knife attack.
So that's yes? You do have that experience?
Well, it's experience on the job, dealing with it many times. I don't have the medical explanations, but I can tell you what's consistent with a defense wound.
Okay. Is one of the witnesses that you interviewed Mr. Frank Ramos?
Frank Ramos, I interviewed him or dealt with him before. Initially, I don't think I interviewed him initially. I interviewed the defendant's father.
Now, have you met Mr. Ramos prior to this incident?
No.
Okay. And Since the incident, how often do you speak?
Objection to relevance.
Judge, the detective testified that he received the still shot from Ramos. The detective also, if we recall, on the 22nd of November, took his personal cell phone to Mr. Ramos's home for a Zoom meeting. I think everybody remembers that, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember
I
that?
think he appeared on a cell phone.
His cell phone, correct.
For us,
Okay.
at your Honor's request,
Right.
he drove over there to do it.
When I asked the detective to drive over and find him so we could take testimony from him as to whether he agreed to you entering his apartment for inspection.
Okay.
Okay. Where are we going with this?
Have you relayed any of the findings to Mr. Ramos?
I have an
Wait a
objection
minute.
pending.
Now we're on a new question.
Right.
Yes.
All right, let me hear your question then.
Yes, Judge. I don't want to talk about the cell phone anymore. He took his cell phone, Your Honor asked, he said yes. The evidence, the investigation, the course of the investigation. Have you revealed details to Mr. Ramos about it?
Absolutely not.
So you never told Mr. Ramos that there were
Objection to
46
relevance.
applicants?
I'm sorry. What would be the relevance of that? I'll allow you to respond to her objection.
I'd like to know, Your Honor, any type of bias or any type of, why would Mr. Ramos know that there were X amount of
No, we
stabbings?
don't have anything in this record which would indicate that Mr. Ramos knows there were X amount of stabbings. Move on to your next question now.
Do you know if Mr. Ramos would know what the search is on the phone?
Objection to relevance. I mean, for this hearing, all of this is irrelevant.
I don't sustain. Next question, please.
I think I'm done. Give me one moment, Your Honor. Oh, okay. I think I'm done. Thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
Yes, sir,
Unless
thank
there are
you.
one lawyer, one-
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Mr. Lewis.
But in the future, don't hesitate to bring her notes about questions that you think she might want to ask during the examination. Is there anything else you have of this witness that you want to ask of this witness, Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Okay, let's get it done.
Judge, I can streamline it a lot faster if I just ask the questions because those are my notes. That's why I understand your policy, Judge. Shouldn't take long. I'd have to tell her what my notes mean.
It's really deciphering his handwriting. When you were interviewing Derek, did you have your gun?
Objection to relevance.
Okay, ma'am, a lot of these things that you're raising here, Mr. Lewis, are things that I would hear ordinarily if you were arguing that his confession or his statements were not voluntary or constitutionally taken, but I'm really much more interested in focusing on the circumstances of his detention. So I'm thinking this goes a bit far afield. I want to give you guys a full opportunity to put as much evidence as you thought was relevant into the record. This is not. It's a standard.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you very much. Any redirect?
Yes,
That's,
thank you, sir.
not a
I'll be
request
brief.
that you redirect. It's just an.
I'll be very brief, Judge. I know it's late. I'm trying to be as succinct as possible. Do 13-year-olds have driver's licenses with their addresses on them?
No.
Was the phone that you impounded belonging to Mr. Rosa a smartphone?
I believe it was, yes.
Are numbers saved in that?
Yes.
In your experience with adults, are there often times when somebody doesn't know a phone number because they saved them? They don't know it by heart.
Yes.
At any point when you were speaking with Mr. Rosa and he didn't understand something, did you explain it?
Yes.
And did he seem to you to understand what you explained?
Yes.
Just 1 second, Judge. No further questions.
Thank you very much, Detective.
Thank
Judge, can I ask one question?
Um,
Regarding that explanation, I have one question.
I'm sorry, ma'am. What's your question?
My question is, did you explain anything to Derek outside of what we viewed here, outside of this interview?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're gonna close down today. That's good for now.
Can we release him of his subpoena so he doesn't have to come back when we finish?
Does anyone need the detective tomorrow?
They didn't subpoena him, we did, but we don't.
Give me 1 moment, Your Honor, please.
You check.
We'll release him, or not release him, it's on our subpoena. We don't need
You
him.
don't have any, thank you. All right, so let's go over what we're doing tomorrow because we're gonna close out the evidentiary portion of this exercise tomorrow. We're gonna do the school people from the jail on Zoom through Corporal Williams tomorrow at 8:30. Hopefully we'll get them done within a half an hour, 45 minutes with a big calendar. At 1:30 we'll do Maldonado if we can track Counselor Maldonado down and get her to the screen. And then when you get here, we'll do Dr. Cooper's. Okay?
And Judge, my only question is, could defense maybe either could you email us with the doctor's email on it so we can send a Zoom meeting for tomorrow morning and we discuss
Yeah, I'm
10:30?
going to ask you two to set up a Zoom interview with him tomorrow. You can do it as a deposition, you can do it as an interview. Obviously, if you intend, and you've told me, you intend to present opinions from him regarding this young man's mental health, then they're entitled to figure out what he received or what he used in reaching those opinions. And that's what tomorrow's about.
No problem, thank you, Your Honor.
Just to confirm, you'll be sending us tonight whatever it is you sent to Dr. Cooper to review.
Well,
Or Cooper.
his email address is on his CV.
Okay, great.
So, and I'm hoping you guys will coordinate to get that done so that we don't have to deal with it after.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Let's send each other.
Are we gonna do this at?
Yes.
No, because I don't have an extra.
Okay, I was gonna ask 8:30.
No. Okay. You're welcome.
Okay. $8:30. Yeah, okay.
Bueno, ahí ustedes pudieron ver esta interrogación que le estaban haciendo pues al detective. No sé si se pudieron percatar que él como en una parte como que se quedó como pensativo, como en el aire, como que todo se le quedó como dando vuelta y luego comenzó pues a contestar alguna pregunta cuando le hablaron directamente de Frank. Algo que a muchas personas pues esto como que no le concuerda, como que nada, como que todo el mundo nota como que hay algo que está sucediendo, hay algo que está pasando. Yo voy a investigar, voy a tratar de buscar la foto donde la gente dice que el detective sí conoce a Fran Ramos. Incluso vi una foto por ahí y la voy a traer para que ustedes me traten de verificar y deducir para ver si en realidad ese es el detective quien se muestra pues ahí. Creo que está Fran también ahí, o los abuelos, los padrastros de Fran, no sé, pero anda por ahí la foto, me pareció verla. Entonces la voy a traer conforme a este testimonio que está dando el detective. Voy a tratar de traer la foto, voy a investigar para pues tratar de descartar pues lo que trata de decir el detective, si es cierto o es falso. Ahora, si ustedes han visto la foto, ustedes pueden ponerme en los comentarios si es cierto, yo vi la foto, ellos sí se conocen. Entonces pues me ahorrarían el tiempo de yo ir de que estar buscando una foto por ahí para traérsela a ustedes si ya ustedes la vieron y tienen la certeza de que ese es el detective junto a los familiares de Fran y junto a Fran. Le quería traer este video para que sean ustedes mismos pues los propios jurados. Gracias por el apoyo, por estar apoyando el caso de Derek, que de verdad a mí mismo me ha dejado atónito, me ha dejado sorprendido este acontecimiento. Me he dado cuenta que la Biblia no se equivoca, de que Cristo viene. Señores, Cristo viene de verdad, se lo digo de corazón. Cristo viene, este mundo se está acabando. tantas atrocidades que están aconteciendo hoy en día.